accused of killing 8 people in San Jose's rail yard, pointed their guns, were allegedly raped by their girlfriends, and prone to liquor-induced anger. The fuck? Samuel Cassidy. Yeah, what up? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another video. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice, smash the like button, and make sure you drop your boy some comments. So you know what they always see, or you know what they always say when there's a big police disturbance and there's a bunch of people out in the middle of the street. Hey, move along. There's nothing to see here. Well, when it comes to this situation, you know, there's nothing to see here. It's just another bad day here in the United States. So I got a couple articles lined up. You already know the routine, so get comfortable, grab your popcorn, but just don't dump it on Russell Westbrook. And let's see what's going on in everybody's favorite state, California. All right. Looks like in San Jose, there was a transit yard shooting. All right. It included a father of 2 who was 36, a grandfather who was 33. And as footage shows the killer setting off for work, he had a bag full of guns and he torched his own home. Did you guys hear about this? If you did or didn't hear about this, type it in the comments. Let me know. This is something that you would think would be all over the news. Or would it? Well, if you follow my channel, you know probably the only place you're going to see or hear about this is here. Okay? Samuel Cassidy opened fire shortly before 7 a.m. after calmly setting off from home carrying a duffel bag, which police believe contained the gun used in the attack at the Valley Transportation Authority rail yard in San Jose. The 57-year-old killed 9 colleagues and was found dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. A motive has not yet been established. You know, the fact that this motherfucker was just an evil piece of shit, that's just not good enough, huh? But an ex-girlfriend claimed Cassidy had bipolar. There we go with the mental health. She's on code to protect her ex-man and was violent. She alleged he had mood swings, became violent when drunk, and would force himself on her sexually. Ugh. Chilling footage from a neighbor's doorbell camera shows Cassidy leaving his home on Wednesday morning, wearing a safety jacket and pants with a fluorescent strip as he gets into his white pickup truck. Watch them pickup trucks, man. Watch them pickup trucks. He set his house on fire before leaving. So he knew he wasn't coming back. And firefighters later arrived to battle the inferno inside the home where a large number of firearms and ammunition were, police said. Friends and family paid tribute to the 9 men aged between 29 and 63 who were killed in the shooting. And another reason why he set the house on fire was to provide a distraction so that police and fire were tied up at his home while he could go do the dirt. All right, so we have your stereotypical mass killer here, Mr. Samuel Cassidy. He opened fire at the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority light rail yard on Wednesday morning. Again, this is on Wednesday. Let me know if you guys have heard about this situation in the comments. All right, if you have, type it in. If you have not, type it in. Let me know. All right. All 9 victims of Wednesday morning's mass shooting at a rail yard in California have been named as co-workers who knew the gunman well. Know him that good, you know, didn't come to work with a bulletproof vest, didn't come to work with your firearms ready to shoot back, and didn't know him as well as you thought you did. Well, now you do, and it's the last thing you know. Samuel Cassidy, 57, opened fire shortly before 7 a.m. after he calmly set off from his home carrying a duffel bag, which police believe contained the gun used in the attack. Detectives have not yet established a motive for the attack which left 9 men aged between 29 and 63 dead at the Valley Transportation Authority rail yard in San Jose. Cassidy, a maintenance worker, was found dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. So this dude was such a coward, he couldn't stand and face the repercussions of what he did. So this is a key into the psychology of the United States. They'd rather die than take accountability, which again is one reason why the United States will never be on board with reparations. The United States will never be on board with anything implementing Black history into the education curriculum. It's because of the clear inability to be accountable. Rather die before admitting that there's an issue or a problem. All right. So now here it says the coroner named the victim Adrian Baliza, Jose De Jesus Hernandez 3, Taptijip Singh, Michael Rudametkin, Paul Dela Cruz Miga, Alex Fritsch, Timothy Romo, Abdulab Al-Hagaliman, and Lars Lane. It sounds like there's a bunch of Muslims, Indians, and Latinos here. This, in my opinion, since we're using the whole POCs thing, he killed a whole bunch of POCs. I think Captain America here should be tried for a hate crime. I know for a fact Jose is Latino, I'm sorry. I know for a fact Adrian is Latino. I know for a fact Mr. Singh is Indian. I know Mr. Romo is more than likely Latino. And Alagmanan, I'm assuming he's also Indian, Asian. That's a lot of POCs since we're using POCs. And as a American government designated POC myself, notice not self-designated, designated by the government and the population at large, well, hell, this scares me. I think that the people in the population at large have been encouraged to do whatever to whomever of color they wish without impunity. And I don't feel safe. And I also don't feel protected by the AAPI hate crime bill, because that hate crime bill is specifically for Asians regarding crimes involving the use of racism geared towards Asian involvement with COVID-19. So I don't feel that I'm protected by anything. And since I come from a race that has a historic history of suppression, oppression, and being a victim of hate crimes, well, hell. This is a nice, diverse amount of POCs that this, good American guy killed. And hey, I feel like I need some kind of protection more than just my 2 hands and some bullets. You know what I mean? Sources said Cassidy shot virtually everyone on the morning shift, including some he worked with for years. He's been described as a loner, and an ex-girlfriend claimed he was violent and had bipolar disorder. And again, I've worked with people with bipolar disorder for years, and none of them have ever killed anybody. Again, when it comes to being bipolar, it's not a violence disorder. We're not talking about schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder. We're talking about a mood polarization disorder, hence it being called bipolar. Has nothing to do with the fact that you're an evil piece of shit and you made the conscious adult decision to kill a bunch of POCs. I guess that POC thing comes in handy sometimes. Sources said Cassidy shot virtually everyone on the morning shift, including some he had worked with for years. He has been described as a loner, and an ex-girlfriend claimed he was violent and had bipolar disorder. She alleged in court that Cassidy exhibited major mood swings. There you go. He became violent when drunk. So see, the violence came when he was drunk. And probably if he was bipolar, that violence that came when he was drunk didn't have anything to do with his actual mental disorder. It had to do with the medication interaction with the alcohol, and would force himself on her sexually. Chilling footage from a neighbor's doorbell camera shows Cassidy leaving his home on Wednesday morning wearing a safety jacket and pants with a fluorescent strip as he gets into his white pickup truck. Detectives said he had multiple firearms in his possession, but did not say how many nor specify the type used in the shooting. He set his house on fire before leaving, and firefighters later arrived to battle the inferno. Inside the home, where a large number of firearms and ammunition were. Mayor Sam Liccardo told CNN Cassidy would have been well acquainted with his victims, included a married father of 2 young children and a loving grandfather. It's clear the victims and all the colleagues knew the shooter well. And again, in my opinion, that is a dumb statement. It's not clear, because if they knew him very well, they wouldn't have came to work that morning, because they would have known he was dead, or they would have been dead. They didn't know him good enough. I'm sure they didn't know he forced himself on his girlfriend, allegedly, according to her testimony. I'm sure they didn't know that he was bipolar. They said that he was a loner and he didn't talk much. So, I mean, if he was a loner and he didn't talk much, then he wouldn't be giving any signs of any personality issues. So, again, they have to upplay the fact that they assume that this guy just isn't capable of doing this kind of thing. I don't know. Some wires must have got crossed or something. Yeah, the wires in the C4 explosive that he probably had at home in his damn garage/bunker. Friends and family of the men took to social media last night to remember sons, fathers, and grandfathers killed by Cassidy. Married Rudo Metkin had been working as an overhaul line worker at VTA since 2018 and was described as a great friend. San Jose Councilman Paul Perales paid tribute to Rudo Metkin, whom he described as a longtime friend, in a Facebook post. "My dad and I were just planning another golf day reunion with Mikey, and now that will never happen again. My family and I have lost a great friend, and there are no words that can describe the heartache we are feeling right now, especially for his family," he wrote. And here, of course, what's interesting is the first they they say that, you know, all lives matter, right? The first of the victims they show is the white guy, in order to try to neutralize the severity of this crime. Not saying that his death isn't unfortunate, not saying that, you know, he was any better or worse than anyone who was killed, but isn't that interesting? Out of all the non-white, or, you know, not designated white people who were killed here, the very first one they show is a white guy. Oh, it can't be a hate crime if he killed a white person. All right, then stop talking about black on black crime. Fuck. Now, yeah, here's victim Tadajip Singh. I told you Singh is an Indian guy. Singh is actually a very popular belief system, religion. I think it's actually the most popular. I always thought Hinduism is, but again, I have some close friends and acquaintances, and one of my favorite professors from college is a Indian man, and they all taught me about Singh. I didn't even know about it, you know. But it's also apparently a very common last name, like Sharma, you know, and Patel, as far as when it comes to the Indian culture. All right. And unfortunately, this man, he was a 36-year-old. He was a married father of 2 young children. You know what I'm saying? It's very sad. And clearly he has his, you know, ethnic headpiece on, so he may or may not be first or second generation. And again, another unfortunate case of someone attempting to escape for better here in the United States and ending up finding out what actually goes on here in the United States. Very sad. Michael Rudo Metkin. All right, so this is Michael Rudo Metkin, and this guy he's got to be like Eastern European, or, you know what I mean, Arabic or Turkish or something like that. He was also killed in the mass shooting of VTA on Wednesday morning, and was one of 8 people killed by co-worker Samuel Cassidy at the VTA rail yard on Wednesday morning. Very sad. Very sad. And they don't show the other people, interestingly. They didn't show any of the Latinos. Very interesting. They didn't show the Latinos. Married Tapijit Singh, who is 36, who has a 3-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter, helped others to get to safety before he was killed. Damn. Wow. His uncle, Saquant Dillon, told the Mercury News of San Jose He told people, be careful, hide. He was running around the building to save others' lives. He added that the family was very deep in grief. A friend of Paul Dela Cruz, Miga, similarly paid tribute on Facebook, describing him as a ray of sunshine. My heart is broken for your kids and family, the pal of the 42-year-old dad wrote. Meanwhile, victim Lars Lanes was described as a loving husband, brother, father, and grandfather by relatives who spoke with Fox 40. Interesting. His people got a news interview. His brother, Edward Lane, told the publication he was devastated by the horrible situation. At a press conference on Wednesday afternoon, Governor Gavin Newsom said there is a sameness and a numbness to these incidents after meeting with the relatives of the victim. What the hell is going on in the United States of America? What the hell is wrong with us? And when are we going to come to grips with this? He added. I don't know. One thing that's wrong with California is that you keep releasing prisoners and then blaming black people for AAPI hate crimes. That's one thing that's wrong with America, if you really want to know. You know what I'm saying? Later, chilling surveillance footage emerged, which showed Cassidy leaving his home shortly before the massacre. He was caught on a neighbor's Nest camera departing his Santa Clara residence early Wednesday morning before he drove 10 miles to the rail yard, where he opened fire. The masked killer was seen in surveillance footage clutching about a black duffel bag, believed to be holding the gun or guns he used to carry out the attack. After shooting indiscriminately, notice how they say after shooting indiscriminately at his colleagues. Interesting, very interesting, because he ended up only killing one white guy and killed a whole bunch of other ethnic people. Very interesting that they say indiscriminately, because in my opinion, he absolutely discriminated. You know what I mean? It's very clear in the pattern of who he killed. Cassidy then turned the gun on himself.
Pay back to the cook.
I want to pay.
Oh, I mean, that's one of the problems with Daily Mail. They have so many ads and articles all over the damn place. Try to click them out, you know, to make sure that they don't go wild, and they just start doing whatever the hell they want to with impunity. But anyway, police believe Cassidy also set fire to his home shortly before he left the VTA yard. Flames were seen billowing from the property after he departed in a white Ford pickup truck. Police have offered no motives for the killings. Oh, of course. However, former partner of Cassidy spoke with NBC Bay Area claiming he suffered from mental health issues. Oh, they all suffer from mental health issues. And now there's families suffering as a result of his mental health issues. So what are we going to do with that? You know how they keep asking the question, what are we going to do with black people? What are we going to do with these people that continue, you know what I mean, to allegedly have these mental health issues, and they kill everybody else and then kill themselves, and then, there's no repercussions or recourse. So apparently it looks like Mr. Dela Cruz may have been Filipino. All right, because usually when there's the Asian people and they have the Spanish last name, you know, because Spain couldn't keep their asses in Spain, usually that's a clue as to them being Filipino. All right. The ex, who has not been named, and I believe she is an Asian woman because there is a picture of her out there, told NBC Bay Area that she and Cassidy dated for 6 months back in 2009 after meeting on Match.com. You meet these weirdos on these damn dating sites. You know what I'm saying? Swiping right is swiping white all over the place, and you fucked around and found yourself a killer. She said Cassidy turned on her when she rejected his marriage proposal. I mean, why were you still with him if you were gonna reject his marriage proposal? You know what I mean, telling him she didn't want to rush into such a wedding. I mean, you know, some people are getting married after a month. Y'all did date for 6 months, and you know that. A lot of women out here saying that men don't want to marry. Well, this guy offered her a marriage proposal, and you know, he was a killer, and the fact that he was a killer wasn't good enough for her to reject him. She just wanted to reject him so that she could have her, you know, feminine power. I don't know, whatever. You're lucky you still alive with your crazy ass. So here again, for whatever reason, they keep showing pictures of Lane as if he's the only victim here. You know what I mean? I was scared. I turned down, and he turned totally different, she stated. He was angry and screaming. He stole my car. The ex also added that Cassidy said his job at VTA was stressful and that he complained about his boss. Meanwhile, the San Francisco Chronicle reports that another ex-girlfriend of Cassidy filed court documents against him back in 2009. They came in response to a restraining order Cassidy had filed against her earlier. In the documents, the woman accuses him of repeatedly trying to pressure her into having anal sex and of raping her once in 2008. Man, this motherfucker's just a trife bastard. And he was a non-criminal, you know what I'm saying, good American man, you know, that has more opportunities than other people. The woman further alleged Cassidy had major mood swings as a result of bipolar disorder, which worsened when he drank large amounts of alcohol. And again, drinking doesn't have any effect on an existing mental disorder other than normal effects that alcohol has. What happens is if you're on medications, the alcohol interacts with the medications and creates other issues, right, that mirror, you know, instabilities in your ability to operate mentally. All right, so again, you know, they're mixing up information. And that's what happens when you have journalists giving information about things that they shouldn't, like how medications and mental disorders work. It's one of the reasons why these people get away with so much, again, because these complexes are all tied together. The population at large, media, law enforcement complex is created to signal boost, as Professor Black Truth says, and continue a certain drumbeat. It's one of the reasons why I'm not, again, disrespecting Mr. Lane. That's why you keep seeing Mr. Lane. And that's why they're not showing any of the other people, you know, like this ethnic young man who happened to be killed, who clearly had a lot of fans. You know what I mean? Clearly he had a lot of fans, you know. Very sad. He also played several mind games, which he seemed to enjoy, she stated in the documents. All right, so here's some people taking part in these, vigils that they're having. You know what I mean? Cassidy's father, James Cassidy, 88, answered the phone to Daily Mail Wednesday and said, "I'm sorry, I don't know what he might have been going through." What does it matter? See, this is his father. "I'm sorry, I don't know what he might have been going through." How about, "I'm sorry, I raised a killer"? James Cassidy. Let's try that. "I'm sorry, I raised a killer." How about that? What do you mean you don't know what he's going through? Whatever he's going through was no justification for him to go and take, what was that, 8 or 9 people's lives? This is what I'm saying. You see the recurrent behavior pattern. There's a recurrent behavior pattern. And this is why this stuff doesn't get shown in the news and broken down the way that it does. Because when you start to deconstruct the behavior pattern, you realize, oh my God, I'm never getting reparations. I'm never getting a hate crime bill. There's no possible way there will ever be anything done as far as restitution in this country, because on an individual basis, a lot of these people have no capacity to take personal responsibility or either to show empathy. I mean, this dude in the phone call, according to the Daily Mail, because they may have left out some things, who knows, but you would think if he had apologized, the Daily Mail, you know, they would have made that known. They would have said, you know, he also offered condolences to the families. But clearly, you know, they don't mention anything like that, so it would be safe for me to assume that he didn't offer any condolences to the family. You know what I mean? He told the Daily Beast his son seemed completely himself before the shooting, which is scary as hell. Adding, he didn't talk about his job or politics. "I just found out he was dead and his house was on fire and all that a minute ago." The incident is the latest in a string of mass shootings this year. On Wednesday afternoon, Newsom turned out for a vigil for the victims of the VTA in San Jose. He appeared to be somber as he donned a black face mask and stood among fellow mourners. Later in the evening, an interfaith service was held in the local area to mourn those who had lost their lives. Look at this. On Wednesday, first reports of gunfire at the VTA rail yard came at about 6:30 a.m. local time. The sheriff had tweeted early Wednesday morning, deputies currently on the scene for an active shooter investigation in the area of 100 W. Younger Avenue SJ. Please stay, oh, San Jose. Please stay away from the area. More to follow. 7 victims died at the scene. 2 patients were transported to the Santa Clara Valley Medical Center, according to spokesperson Joy Alexiou. 1 person was pronounced dead upon arrival. The other was in critical condition. VTA spokesperson Brandy Childless said the building where the shooting took place required security access, adding, "We ask for people's prayers." The Valley Transportation Authority provided bus, light rail, and other transit service throughout the Santa Clara County and most populated area in the Bay Area, authorities said. Following reports, the incident took place during a meeting of union members. Alligated Transit Union International President John A. Costa said in a statement, "We are shocked and deeply saddened by the multiple fatalities and injuries at a shooting today at the VTA rail facility. Our hearts and prayers are with our sisters, brothers, and their families at the ATU Local 265 in San Jose." Local branch ATU Local 265 tweeted, "Pray." Very sad, but not out of expectations in the United States of irresponsibility and illegitimacy. All right. So there's an article here from the Associated Press about this topic. All right. And it says authorities ID'd 8 victims of California rail yard shooting. All right. This is crazy. 2 people hung on Younger Avenue outside the scene of a shooting in San Jose, California on Wednesday, May 26th, 2021. An employee opened fire Wednesday at a California rail yard serving Silicon Valley, killing multiple people before ending his own life. Authorities said the suspect was an employee of the Valley Transportation Authority, which provides bus, light rail, and other transit services throughout Santa Clara County, the most populated county in the Bay Area, authorities said. Now, it's interesting. They don't call this an AAPI hate crime because there was a Filipino guy who killed. Again, I find it interesting that a lot of these Asian alleged journalists, because they claim to be journalists, but I don't know what kind of journalism it is that they're doing. I don't understand why they're not talking about who's actually killing Asian people. They're not talking about who's actually killing Asian people, because there goes an Asian guy, he's dead. There goes an Asian guy, he's dead. So we're not going to call this an AAPI hate crime. What we're going to do is we're going to show Mr. Lane's face a bunch of time. That's what we're going to do. Very interesting. San Jose, California, an employee opened fire Wednesday at a California rail yard, killing 8 people before taking his own life. As law enforcement rushed in, authorities said they didn't rush fast enough. Apparently, they didn't take him alive, marking the latest attack in a year that has sent a sharp increase in mass killings as the nation emerges from coronavirus restrictions. Shooting took place around 6:30 a.m. in 2 buildings at a light rail facility for the Valley Transportation Authority, which provides bus, light rail, and other transit services throughout Santa Clara County, the most populated county in the San Francisco Bay Area. When our deputies went through the door, initially he was still firing rounds. When our deputies saw him, he took his own life. Santa Clara County Sheriff Lori Smith told reporters. Deputies were going through hallways saying sheriff's office. Interesting. Very interesting how he took his own life when he saw a deputy. I wonder if he got some type of signal or some type of opportunity to do that. He knew at the time his time for firing shots was over. Wow. The victims, many of them longtime employees of the transit agency, were identified by the Santa Clara County's coroner's office on Wednesday night as Paul Dela Cruz Miga, 42, Tapjep Singh, 36, Adrian Baliza, 29, Jose De Jesus Hernandez, 35, Timothy Michael Romo, 49, Michael Joseph Ruda Metkin, 40, and Abdul Wahab Al Hagagaman, 63, and Lars Kepler Lane, 63. Their jobs included bus and light rail operators, mechanics, linemen, and assistant superintendent. One had worked for the Transit Authority since 1999. Singh had worked as a light rail train driver for 8 or 9 years and had a wife, 2 small children, and many family members, said his cousin, Bhagat Singh. We heard that he chose the people to shoot, but I don't know why they choose him because he has nothing to do with him, he said. He said he was told that the gunman targeted certain people and let others go. San Jose Councilman Raul Perales said Ruta Metkin was a close friend. There are no words to describe the heartache we are feeling right now, especially for his family, he wrote on Facebook. 8 families are feeling this same sense of loss tonight, and our entire community is mourning as well. The attacker was identified as 57-year-old Sam Cassidy, according to law enforcement officials. Investigators offered no immediate words on a possible motive. His ex-wife, Celia Nelms, told the Associated Press that Cassidy had a bad temper and would tell her that he wanted to kill people at work, but I never believed him, and it never happened until now. Well, one time it happening is bad enough. Nelms, teary-eyed and shaken by the news, said her ex-husband would come home wound up and angry about things that happened at work. As he talked about it, he would get more mad, she said. He could dwell on things. When Cassidy lost his temper, Nelms said there were times she was scared. He was someone who could physically hurt others, she said. Anybody can physically hurt others. Nelms said they were married for 10 years. Cassidy filed for divorce in 2005 and had not been in contact for 13 years. She said he had been treated for depression. Members of a union representing Valley Transportation Authority workers were meeting when the shooting began. San Jose Mayor Sam Liccardo said, but it's not clear the meeting was related to the attack. When she heard shots, Transit Authority mechanic Rochelle Hawkins said she dropped her phone. I was running so fast, I just ran for my life, she said. I would hope everyone would just pray for the VTA family. Just pray for us. Other friends and family members awaited news after being unable to reach their loved ones through calls or text messages. Some had tracked the missing person's cell phone to the rail yard but had no information from authorities. Sheriff spokesman Deputy Russell Davis said he did not know the type of weapon used in the attack. As bomb squads searched the rail complex, officials were also investigating a house fire that broke out shortly before the shooting, Davis said. Public records show Cassidy owned the 2-story home where the firefighters responded after being notified by a passerby. Law enforcement officers cordoned off the area near the home and went in and out Wednesday. Doug Suh, who lives across the street, told Mercury News in San Jose that Cassidy seemed strange and that he never saw anyone visit. I'd say hello and he'd just look at me without saying anything. That sounds like familiar behavior for certain people, doesn't it? Sung said. Once Cassidy yelled at him to stay away because he was backing up his car. After that, I never talked to him again. Microaggression. Cassidy had worked for Valley Transportation Authority since at least 2012. According to the public payroll and pension database, Transparent California, first as a mechanic from 2012 to 2014, then as someone who maintained substations. Governor Gavin Newsom, speaking emotionally in front of a county office where flags flew at half-staff, said victims' relatives were waiting to hear from the coroner, waiting to hear from any of us, just desperate to find out if their brother, their son, their dad, their mom is still alive. It begs the damn question, what the hell is going on in the United States of America? I mean, you should know, motherfucker, you're in politics. The fuck is going on? Stop releasing criminals from the California prison system and start doing some investigation on what the hell is going on in the United States. That'll be a start. Don't ask us. You're getting paid with our tax dollars, motherfucker. Open a book, get on the internet, type some shit in Google, do something. Another man wounded in the attack was in critical condition at the Santa Clara Valley Medical Center, spokesperson Joy Alexio said. The bloodshed comes amid a rise in mass killings after the pandemic had closed many public places and kept people confined to their homes at least a year. And again, if the United States knew anything about psychology, they would understand that when people are bottled up and stuck in their homes for a long time, people come out aggressive. Already aggressive people come out even more aggressive. 86 people have died in the shootings, compared with 106 for all of 2020. The database defines mass killings as 4 more people dead, not including the shooter, meaning the overall toll of gun violence is much higher when adding in small incidents. What I find interesting is that there were 2 Asians killed in this, and there's nothing being said about the anti-Asian sentiment of this crime. At the White House, President Joe Biden ordered flags to be flown at half-staff and urged Congress to act on legislation to curb gun violence. Every life that is taken by a bullet pierces the soul of our nation. Really? No, it doesn't. There's never any soul piercing except for black people when it comes to police bullets killing one of us. But okay, Biden, sure. We can and we must do more, Biden said in a statement. San Jose, the 10th largest city in the U.S. with more than 1 million people, is about 50 miles, 80 kilometers south of San Francisco in the heart of Silicon Valley. Trains were already out on morning runs when the shooting occurred. Light rail service was suspended and replaced with bus bridges. Wednesday's attack was Santa Clara County's second mass shooting in less than 2 years. A gunman killed 3 people and then himself at a popular garlic festival in Gilroy in July of 2019. The Gilroy attack was on Mayor Liccardo's mind Wednesday as text messages flooded in reporting the shooting and fire. Not again, he thought as he jumped in his car and raced to City Hall. Transit Authority workers told him they knew Cassidy. You try to understand what will possess someone to do that much harm, Liccardo said by phone. It's unfathomable. Actually, try being black in America. It's really not unfathomable what these people can do, all right? But again, that's one of the reasons why they want to take critical race theory out of the schools so that you can be an unsuspecting victim of it. Like the ethnic people who ended up dying in this, because it was a majority of ethnic people who ended up dying in this. This is one of the reasons why, listen, I'm not going to blindside everybody with critical race theory and have them just, preparing themselves that they could be the victim of a mass shooting with impunity. I mean, we do critical race theory when it comes to 55% of the gun violence and murders and violent crimes come from 13% of the population. That's a critical race theory about black people. It's critiquing the black races being prone to violence. All right. So we can't talk about any other critical race theories? Because this right here and the other data about mass shooters and domestic violence, that comes from the same FBI data bank that the black on black crime and 1355 statistic comes from. So let's talk about this. No, this is just anti-white propaganda. Actually, no, it's not. Haven't once said anything anti-white. What I said was anti-unfairness. And it just so happens that the people who are favored, a lot of times they happen to look like this good American gentleman right here. And the people who end up getting killed with impunity don't usually look like his victims, because now those victims have, hate crime legislation to protect them. But a lot of times those victims are ethnic. This down here is a very sad case of a degenerate piece of shit who happened to stab and kidnap this kid and killed him. Killed the kid. I have no idea why. That's one of the things that was actually in my queue to do a video on, but I just didn't get a chance yet. But yeah, this happened so if you're wondering about this live update here, I think this guy was 19 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Killed this kid. I can't stand people who do shit to kids. Again, don't matter what the fuck color you are, don't matter who you are, you have no business doing anything to an innocent child. If only other alleged journalists could be as fair in their reporting as me. But again, just like the phone call from the Daily Mail to this piece of shit's dad, James Cassidy, just doesn't seem like it's possible. San Jose shooter Samuel Cassidy's ex said he raped her in a violent, booze-filled rage. and had a restraining order. I guess he wasn't restrained that well. He was able to break open a bottle of booze and then attempt to break her open. Just a monster. Sheesh. But they followed me around Walmart before they even thought twice about even looking at this guy. If you want to commit a mass crime in the United States, all you got to do is be white and just get around a black person, because they're going to look at the black person first, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want to. And if you get away fast enough, they'll blame the black person. Thank goodness they got all these damn cameras all over the place, but even those don't matter anymore. Because again, here in the United States, shit like this happens. Shit like this happens, where your fetus can die in a shooting and you get charged for manslaughter. This is the kind of shit that happened to you if you're black in the United States. Prosecutors in Alabama have dropped the manslaughter charges against Marsha Jones, 27, whose unborn baby died when she was shot by another woman last December. Another story that you don't hear in the mainstream media. You know, they're not talking about that. Now, listen, this black woman got shot and, you know, she should have been responsible. She should have had a bulletproof vest on. We're going to charge her for manslaughter for a baby dying. But aren't you the people that, when talking about how Black Lives Matter, the first thing that you talk about is a black baby that's aborted? Well, this baby was aborted by a bullet. Where's your outrage? Oh, there was none. Y'all wanted to prosecute this lady. This is unbelievable. Shooters accused of killing 8 people in San Jose rail yard before pointing their guns were allegedly wait. What? Look at this. Look at this. Read this. This is what I'm talking about how these alleged journalists are shit. They don't edit anything. Shooters accused of killing 8 people. There was only one shooter. Were allegedly look. What? Shooters accused of killing 8 people in San Jose rail yard before pointing their guns were allegedly raped by their ex-girlfriends and prone to liquor-induced anger. Are you reading this shit? Am I reading this right? Shooters accused of killing 8 people. So now this mainstream media thing here, California News Times, they're saying that it was shooters. But here in the headline of the article, it says San Jose shooter Samuel Cassidy said okay, look, San Jose shooter Samuel Cassidy's ex said he raped her in a violent booze-fueled rage and had a restraining order. But then down here they turn around and say shooters accused of killing 8 people in San Jose's rail yard pointed their guns, were allegedly raped by their girlfriends and prone to liquor-induced anger. The fuck? Samuel Cassidy, 57, was identified by law enforcement officers as a shooter around 6:30 a.m. on Wednesday. During a union meeting in San Jose, he rushed into the Valley Transportation Authority's VTA maintenance yard, killing 8 colleagues and injuring several others. All right, so here it is right here. The archer was named, and they calling him an archer. This motherfucker wasn't shooting no damn arrows. He was shooting bullets. What the fuck they calling him an archer for? His name was Samuel Cassidy. He was 57, and he was a mechanic at the Valley Transport Authority. All right. Police and FBI bombers arrived at the scene and were observed entering the depot after the explosives were installed. What the fuck? What explosives? They installed some explosives at this shit? Armed police were on the scene. A fire at the late Cassidy's house about 10 miles away is believed to have been caused by him before he rampaged. The man, described by 2 women in his life as full of darkness. According to the report, in 2009, a former girlfriend filed a detention order against the 57-year-old man after a domestic violence incident. The publication cites court documents related to cohabitation with the 45-year-old woman, suggesting that men suffer from large amounts of alcohol with bipolar disorder. What? The publication cites court documents related to cohabitation with a 45-year-old woman, suggesting that men suffer from large amounts of alcohol with bipolar disorder? Huh? Cassidy, who allegedly committed suicide after killing 8 people and injuring a few more within the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority, allegedly set fire to his home. Cassidy complained to his ex-wife about working at the VTA and being given a difficult job compared to his colleagues. I mean, you know, you're allegedly capable by default, so do it. Don't flip the fuck out and kill everybody. This just brings me back to that employee at that hotel, and everybody's outrage was that Tariq Nasheed decided to retweet it. That dude was clearly nuts, and he decided to punch himself in the head and flip the fuck out and break the computer screen. You know what I mean? What if he had done some shit like this? What if he had went back in his locker and got a damn gun and just decided to blow everybody away at that damn hotel, at that Holiday Inn? But he ended up getting paid $85,000, and I'm sure if this dude's family sets up a GoFundMe, they'll be like, oh my God, people are just talking about this guy in such a disgusting way. Here's some money to set you straight for the rest of your life. This is just this is anti-white racism, and this is the problem in the United States. Anti-white. The white guy who got killed got a bunch of pictures on Daily Mail. The white guy who killed everybody killed a bunch of Asian people here. That's funny how they leave out the fact that there was all these damn Asians that got killed. And why do you think that is? That's what I want to see. I want to see comments addressing that in the live chat and after the video. Why do they leave out all the Asians who were killed in this crime? You know what I'm saying? In the oath declaration, the Chronicle reported that a woman of pounds 5'4" and 120 claimed several times to fight Cassidy of pounds 6 foot 1,200 from aggressive sexual activity. The physical and psychological abuse that women claim to have endured in court documents cited by the Chronicles represents sadistic personality. He also played some mind games that he seemed to enjoy, she said, according to the court documents quoted in the article. According to the newspaper, a woman who claimed to have forced herself after Cassidy threw her in bed in September 2008. Man, they got to do better editing on this shit. Damn. Yeah, I'm not about to finish reading this article because this is very poorly written. I'll leave the link to it in the description box, though. A lot of times people don't even watch these videos all the way through to the end. So I highly doubt they're doing any kind of investigation, like clicking on links in the description box. But for my purposes, you know, because I like to keep a record. It's one of the reasons why I started my YouTube channel. I'll leave the link in the description. You guys can read through this botched article yourself. All right. A lot of times when I read these articles, all kinds of typos and grammatical errors in it. It sounds like I'm the one that can't read, but it's these motherfuckers that are the ones that can't write. Right. So yeah, there's nothing to see here. Just another day in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Good old America. You say anything about this, you're being anti-white, anti-American, you know, but you know, this motherfucker was clearly not pro-life because he went to a train station and decided to shoot up a bunch of Asians. But keep this quiet. We're not going to talk about it in terms of hate crime. You know, this is no. Oh, he can't be racist. I mean, he killed a white guy. The fuck? At what point do we start being honest here? At what point do we do that? All right. So with that being said, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you hit the bell icon if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Make sure you drop your boy some comments and share this video out to all of your social media. If you see value in the content, the links will take you to where you're able to donate to the platform, because YouTube will refuse to monetize either one of my accounts as of right now. So, you know, just keep making more of them until they decide to. All right. So make sure you follow my backup accounts too. Just take a moment and go to the channel section and click the bell icon twice on all of those. All right. And I will catch you all on the next video. All right. Peace.